Hey guys, welcome back. We are here with Stacey Parks, who, which I'm sure many of you know. You would have interacted with Stacey when you're working on your transactions. Stacey's also done a lot with us administratively within professional development and marketing and events. So you may, if you don't know her through conveyance, you probably would have met her through one of your other many important roles that you've helped us with. So thank you for being here. I know Mondays are busy.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our other conveyance staff who are maybe a little bit busy because you're here, so it is definitely a group effort. But we wanted to bring you on for a few reasons. We're going to talk about some of the new pages that we created. You have a little bit of information that you're going to present. But the first thing that I just want to say to all the realtors watching is that obviously people have issues with paperwork, and there's some knowledge gaps. You know, you guys are kind of the police force on this, and that is your job, right? Like, unfortunately, it's one of those things where you're very, very helpful, but there's also kind of like the legal regulatory standpoint where at some point you need some stuff. So that's their job. But I want to say personally that there's nobody, and all of you that work in that department are so proactive, and we're trying to work on this a bunch more, of coming up with content and questions that you know that realtors need resources for, and videos and articles, and you're constantly keeping track of all of this stuff, saying, you know, this would be very helpful for the realtors. And we have a billion things that we always need to create content on, but we're trying to make a big push to support you and your team, because you are such advocates for the realtors on education that they need. So the good guys. Moral of the story is absolutely the good guys. And we're very grateful for all the work that you do. So to start off, our accounting and conveyance and listings team, and give them a quick introduction. There's not many of them, but...
No, altogether there's about 7 of us.
Wow.
5 work with listings and conveyancing. Kathy Hearn, Mumta Seachern, Lisa Purdy, and Tammy Bates. She's our newest conveyancing listing gal. She also dabbles in accounting. And then accounting is Cindy Palombi and Alma Freeman.
Awesome.
Perfect. And Chris Mortensen.
Oh yeah, Chris
is also around sometimes.
Yeah, but he's the top dog.
So really good team. Again, not huge, but all of you are extremely skilled at what you do and very knowledgeable and helpful. So thank you for that. And so some of the stuff we're going to talk about today comes from your wealth of experience sitting back there, dealing with realtor questions every single day. So we recently created, and Stacey, I'll get you to walk us through, but you know, Stacey and Corinne and I had a meeting, and we said, okay, looking at all the resources that we currently have, we know that there's a ton that still need to be created, but what can we do to make it so that when a realtor clicks the submit a listing button or the enter a sale button, we can circumvent the most common questions that you guys ask by putting quick, easy access to information on some of those pages. And you did a great job of looking at all the content we had. You helped design and lay it out, and we have 2 things on that. So why don't we do a quick screen share and start with submit a listing and just give a quick demo of the new page.
All right. So submit a listing.
Ta-da!
So there's, you scroll. Oh. So the listing request form, or the submit a listing button, is like the first thing that you see. And that's needed for every listing, including listings when you're relisting a property. It's even more important when you're relisting a property, because if you don't do it, we don't know you have a sign or that it's a relist. It's very important. We have an option to submit a sign only, but this does tie into the listing request form. But if you want your sign to go up right now, and you are, say, listing your property in a couple of days, but you want the sign to be there beforehand, you can do the submit a sign only request. And so the sign company will install the sign the next day, but then the listing request form is still required. And so when you go to submit a listing after you've submitted a sign only request, it'll actually be mostly filled in. It'll just show up at the top part of your submit a listing page, and you'll be able to submit it from there.
Perfect.
So then we have a couple of paperwork processes. One is what happens when you list a property, and then it also has the paperwork required when you do a residential transaction. It's got listing information in there and purchase information.
I'm sorry, to speak to this. One of the things that's so critical about this is realtors need to have all the information they need in one spot. I mean, especially if you're new, you don't know what to do, you submit a listing. The goal on this is to make it where all the information you want is in the spot that you need it. And you're going to see improvements on the virtual office to continue to do this. But when you go to submit a listing, you're like, well, what paperwork do you need? It's all right here. And I just want to give one quick shout out to the conveyance team, because we talk about them as being the police, but actually they're there to provide a better level of representation to your clients, because if you are missing an initial on a piece of paperwork or anything else, there's a good chance your client is in danger of being misrepresented, having an issue go through. Maybe there wasn't a proper disclosure made. And this is actually a layer of protection for them. So you guys, and I just want to give you a big shout out here, are the first line of defense for your clients. And I think that people forget about that. It's
just like the police are the first line of defense for us.
Yeah, except for once an issue's already happened, the police come in, whereas you guys are even proactive because it's before closing.
Right.
So, and
we don't wear hot uniforms.
Hot.
Like
the
sexy police uniforms?
No.
Do you show your colors? Do you like police uniforms, Stace?
But we don't wear those kind of uniforms, even if you try to come find us.
All right, continue on. But again, all the information you need when you go to submit a listing is now on this page.
Titles. We do a lot of titles, so we made it so easy so that there's a button there to order titles or condo docs like the CAD sheet or the condo plan, or even corporate searches. We do corporate searches as well. Information about signs, sign installation, how to get a sign fixed, how to request a sign down early, if you run out of nameplates or you need more decals, there's also an option there.
I love this page so much.
I like all the colors.
Me too.
We did a couple of quick access forms, basically forms that you would use after you've already listed the property, so like amendments or if you need a termination or temporarily withdraw your listing. And then there's the RMS guidelines.
So perfect. So really anything, and there's a few resources that we still need to create that we have a list for that you've given us, but at this point, really all the huge things that somebody's calling you with questions about, a lot of it can be answered by just going and looking at some information on that page.
Yeah, it makes everything clearer and where you can find everything, opposed to the other spot where it's a little harder to read.
Yeah, and just some background on that. I mean, our virtual office, the way it used to look, all these links were sputtered around in different places or spattered around, and now we have it where we've kept them in some of the similar places. We've organized it a little bit, and so you'll actually notice that paperwork process at CIR is in like 3 different places and some other stuff, and that's because we wanted to honor the people that kept looking for it, but those links will slowly be taken off and slowly be removed to really clean everything up. So if you're unsure where that piece of paper is or that link, take a look at submit a listing and you'll find it there. So we're in the process of cleaning this up.
So let's do enter a sale now. You can walk us through that one.
So we have the giant enter a sale button.
But where do I enter the sale, Stace?
Right here when you click on the button.
Love it. So
And
for those of you that are experienced, you don't need to look at all the additional stuff. You just clicked on enter a sale. We had some realtors asking, about did this become more complex and such.
No.
And that's that. So here it is. Try to make it
there's a video there too. It's a little old, but
that's a video.
If you wanna,
Stacy's pointing to her computer screen right now. Stacy, you got to use the mouse, my friend.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you want to listen to my voice, it's an old, really old video, but it's
95% accurate.
Yeah, we need to update it, but it'll do the work. And then there's some more resources about like what happens when you list a property, what happens when you sell what happens when you sell a property, sales, what happens when you sell another company's listing. Also, a couple of new documents we've got is how commissions are paid, which is really important. We get a lot of questions on how commissions are paid. And another new document we have is the conveyancing, how we convey files and how we invoice for commissions, and what our procedure is.
So great, Stacy.
I just wanted to give a really quick note here for those of you that have attended my class and we talk about systems and checklists and things like that. Take us back to that page for a second, Jordan, and just grab where it says what happens when my listing sells, or what happens when I sell another company's listing, because that's very often. You're working with a buyer, you sell another company's listing, and here is the paperwork process for it. You could easily take this document and put little check boxes by it, or just start checking off the different pieces of information, and you're 100% ready to rock.
Totally.
That is absolutely so critical, because now you don't need to understand anything else. Like, you could just have it, you don't need to know anything, you just check off, here's these different forms that I need, and you can put together a complete package to make sure that you have all the information. It's so powerful to have it all in one place. So great job. This has existed for a while.
When you submit a trade sheet, you're also given a list
That's
of
right.
all the documents that are required.
That's right. And if you want to be proactive, here you go. So systems people, you don't need to create your own checklist. You can just print this off and say, follow this procedure.
Awesome. So lots of information on paperwork there. And this one is great, the Lawyer Realtor Lookup. I love how we have those quick links here, because this is something great that CIR does.
Well, you get to see what lawyers are in our system, and also too, it helps you look to see if the lawyers are in the law directory. Because I mean, when you submit a lawyer to us and it's not in our system, that's the first place we look. Because we can only convey files to lawyers. We can't convey to student law.
Yep.
We can't do it to paralegals or assistants. We can only convey to lawyers.
In Alberta, you have to use a lawyer.
So
Yeah.
the law society is where we go.
Also, if you don't know somebody else's CREB ID,
It's there too.
that's right. It's making it so easy for you guys to get everything you need.
And then there's some more information about the All-for-One charity program and some more quick access forms for after you've already had your sale. So like waivers and non-waivers and amendments and commission reduction forms. Very important.
Well, and we have such a great form section where people can download forms. There are 500 forms in there. So one of the reasons, Stacey, that you picked these ones is because those times that it's really important, somebody needs something quickly, it's typically these 5 that are the go-tos that someone just needs right away or might be missing.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the commission reduction form just for 1 second? You said it's very important. Under what circumstance would that be used?
When you're reducing your commissions.
So from what you've originally
From your original listing. So say your listing is 3.5, 1.5, or no, 7 and 3, and you're wanting to give a discount to you want to reduce it by $1,000. Well, you have to do a commission reduction form, because we're going by what your listing says. So if you're reducing it, then we want something in writing why you're reducing it so that we can send it off.
Yeah, so
and also, when you're representing the buyer, if you reduce your commissions, it's in benefit of the seller. So if you're saying, oh, I want it to benefit my buyers, well, then we question it, because it's benefit of the sellers if you're representing the buyer.
Yeah.
So it's a very important form for us.
Exactly. So just with that, you write up a listing, and a circumstance comes up that says, hey, listen, the final thing, maybe your client bought another property as well, and you agreed to give $1,000 off or something. This is the form that you'd use, and we make it totally readily accessible. So thank you so much for that.
That's so great. So yeah, guys, not everybody does a deal every 2 weeks. It's happening for all of you soon, but there's a lot of people that, you may have not done something in a month or 2 months, or, you had a baby and you're just coming back for things. And if you have a little bit of time to go over some of this stuff, especially, and Stacey, correct me if I'm wrong, but in both of these sections, under the paperwork section, this is not a bad thing if you haven't done something in a while to just go in and familiarize yourself with, read it over a little bit, because, and Lindsay, you had said this earlier. Yeah, it's just, and be a bit proactive about it.
Gosh, absolutely.
And, Stacey, we'll get you to talk about some paperwork stuff in a second, but I know that and Chris Mortensen actually has some really great ideas on how to kind of make the whole flagging notification alert things a little bit simpler, but they are really important, and obviously when our conveyance team reaches out to you and asks for something, no one likes a lot of emails, I get it, but this is stuff where, in terms of the ultimate best interest of your client needing this stuff, this is why you guys are reaching out. So we do have a small team. Anything that you can do to make it easy on them, we appreciate. There's some obvious, people just don't know what they're doing, mistakes are made. But if you're one of those people and you know that you're not doing it properly and you're choosing not to, our plea to you is these are the best staff anyone could possibly have. Make their lives a little bit easier by making the right choice and doing it properly if you're aware of it.
You brought it up. I have to say something on this. If you believe you're busy and you're a busy realtor and you got all this missing paperwork, I cannot think of a more inefficient way to run your business, a more inefficient way than not getting all the paperwork signed up front, because then you have to open it up again, send it again, and you need to just print off these forms and have everything done because you have created your own mess. And that's it. You're busy, and you're saying that I'm too busy to try to get this paperwork. It's because you were so inefficient at the start by just saying, we'll just quickly bang off this purchase contract and customer disclosure, and I didn't get this, and I didn't get this amendment, and I didn't get this piece of paper, and I didn't get FinTrack and all this kind of stuff. You've done it to yourself. I have no sympathy for you because you didn't print off one form, and you didn't take the time, 3 minutes at the beginning, to print off the forms you needed to get them signed with your client right up front. You have to get it. I understand sometimes you miss stuff. You're like, I didn't realize I needed that form as well.
Yeah.
No problem. Totally understand. But, you make the mistake once, fine. Make the mistake twice, and now you got a crappy system. So you just need to print off these, which you already make available, hand them to, or just print them off somewhere.
Yeah.
Just check off the list. That is efficiency. Get it all done up front. Talk to the client once. Meet them with them once to get all the stuff, or send the document via DocuSign once. You don't need to keep doing it. Stacy.
Right, Stace?
That's why we have packages.
That's why we have packages.
That's why we have packages.
You did an awesome job. And if there's anything ever wrong with the packages, let the team know. Stacy is our form package creator queen.
Kind of.
Yes. So, Stace, because we are running a little bit over time.
Sorry, I didn't really remember questions.
No, that's okay.
No.
We're just going to end with two more things. One of them is the biggest issue. So not issues because we're running out of time. But if you could give one kind of piece of advice to people listening right now on paperwork, what would it be?
Check your transactions. Always check your transactions. If you're check to see what flags you have. Check to see, making sure that we have your commissions correctly. Make sure we have all the paperwork, that we have your waivers. We have all these notifications, and a lot of the stuff is automatic. There's certain flags that are automatic for when you're missing waivers, and it's very important to watch your transactions. That's where we communicate. We can't always email back and forth, but we definitely communicate through your transactions, whether it's flags, whatever, little icons. That's how we communicate. So always check your transactions.
Thank you.
Perfect. And if an agent needs help with paperwork, contracts, things like that, who should they call?
Contracts, anything about filling out paperwork, talk to a manager. Talk
Perfect.
to Chris, talk to your office manager. We are not realtors, we're just conveyancers.
You're not realtors, you guys are the backbone and the functionality.
We can't advise.
Yeah.
So we can talk you through some things, but definitely talk to your managers. If you need any updates on collapse files or direct deposit information, email or call accounting. Often we get called for that. All we can do is transfer you, so that's important. Signs all go to listings. That's another big thing. And sales stuff, all the rest of the sales stuff can come to us in conveyancing, including invoicing. Accounting doesn't do invoicing. Conveyancing does. They often send us their emails for invoicing. So
Perfect. And some common, obviously you guys are all in the south, so south office phone number, but there's also conveyance@crrealty.ca, listings@crrealty.ca, and accounting@crrealty.ca. And we're going to be, one of the things we're going to be doing in the future with our virtual office is making those email addresses a little bit easier to find for you too. So thanks for coming, Stace. We really appreciate having you and all your work to help create this beautiful stuff for our realtors. We appreciate your time.
Awesome. We're going to leave you guys with a bit of a motivational video here to start your week. All the best. We'll see you guys
And
next
happy
week.
Thanksgiving, you guys, because
yeah,
we
is
won't
that-
be here.
Oh, is it a long weekend next weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Long weekend.
Long
So
weekend.
we'll see you guys next weekend,
Happy Thanksgiving.
week after. All the best.